Amouret from Paris Bakery, and he's going to share some of his special. Is it bread making?
Yeah, bread and croissant.
Bread and croissant. But you know, just enjoy, and I see some familiar faces. I see some old faces that I haven't seen in a while.
You call my wife old?
I was looking at you. That pretty gal next to you. But no, thank you very much. And what this is Spenard Building Supply is reaching out to the community, and we've been doing this for I would say about 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And I still see some faces from way back when, and we see some new faces, which is really nice. And all it is, we're just reaching out to you, and I hope you enjoyed this morning. It's not a structured type deal. You guys know you guys can ask some questions and everything like that to Antoine here, but just sit back and relax and get some information from Antoine.
Relax. Good morning. So first of all, I made a little mistake in the recipe. If you can go through the croissant recipe, you can see sugar. It's not a kilo. It's a lot of sugar for just 1 kilo of flour. It's 10% of that. It's 100 grams. Because I just divided my recipe. I made it 10% of my recipe, but I forgot to take the sugar out. It's only 100 grams. Okay, so I have a lot of demand all the time for people asking me tips and recipes for croissants, and I just thought it would be interesting this morning to give you an easy recipe that you can do at home very easily, and I can promise you can have some very tasty croissants. So I also brought my mixer because I expect most of you have a mixer at home, and making it by hand it's nice, but I always suggest to do it with a bowl and a mixer. It makes it more uniform. You will get a better result. Of course, you can do it with your hand. It works perfect. But I just assume, I mean, you can imagine on a daily basis at the bakery we use big mixers. So if you want to understand it, how we end up having those croissants, we just need to show you how you can have something similar at home with your little bowl. And you can do it. We'll show you tonight. So we have a tight schedule because I will be quick on this. Croissants, they usually, you need to make the dough, you need to fold the butter in, you need to let the dough rest, you need to fold it again, to divide it, to roll, to proof, and to bake. Usually it takes more than 4 hours. We'll do it in 2 today. I give you the right timing, but we try to go faster today because you cannot spend 4 hours here with it. Anyway, so croissants. So as you can see, the recipe it's mostly flour, yeast, sugar, salt, and I put milk. So my home recipe, I usually put a little bit of fat in it. Like I would put a little bit of shortening in it, or a little bit of melted butter, something like that. Something that brings a little bit more flavor in the dough itself. Today I did not, because I know some people are also trying to get some croissant recipe a little bit lighter. So I'd suggest today we shall just do it just normal. And at home you can substitute the butter with anything else, like olive oil. I know in France we do some croissant with olive oil. You can put shortening, you can put vegetable oil, you can put anything that's fat. That works. It'll taste different, you get a special dough, but it works. As long as you understand that you cannot put too much fat in it, just enough to bring the flavor out. Okay? So how we make the croissant? We first put the flour in the bowl. So I have 1 kilo of flour that I scaled this morning. I also put yeast.
Is this a special kind of flour?
It's bread flour.
Bread flour?
It's a little bit stronger than just a cake flour because you need a strong gluten. That's why. Because when you fold the butter into the dough, you need the dough not to cry. You need to be elastic. But you can find those flour at Spenard or anything else.
And is the yeast a rapid rise or a regular yeast?
That's why I brought those. As you can see, that yeast is kind of a dry yeast. And I found the same, for example, at Sam's. They sell it as a pound. You probably saw it.
Oh,
It's the same yeast. Mine is a little bit more professional. I buy it from a special provider. But those yeasts at Sam, I tried them once because I forgot to order it, so I had to get yeast on flight. And it worked. It worked fine. Salt.
Why do you put the dry stuff in first and then the wet? Because I know other processes where you put the wet in first and then you add the dry.
I have a small quantity, so I don't have a special order. I could put the wet and the dry. In my bakery, I deal with like a 15 kilo croissant every batch. So I will always put the dry first and then put the wet, so I can see. My idea is I want all my mix to get, uniform. If I put all my wet first and then on my dry, I don't know what's going to be on the bottom. Can you imagine 15 kilo? I don't know what's happening on the, but I need to watch it when it mixed. So that's why I put my dry first and then slowly pour my wet. That way I can see the bottom, and if there's any flour trapped underneath, I can just pour some more water so it gets mixed together. But for example, sometimes I'm making like 30 kilo flour for baguette. That's a lot of flour. And the problem you're gonna have is if your mixer is not big enough, even if you mix for 20 minutes, there will always be some flour trapped on the bottom because it's too small mixer for that big amount. So what I do sometimes, I would put half of my wet ingredient on the bottom, then pour my flour, and then start my mixer and pour the rest of my wet ingredients. That way I'm sure it will be mixed. It's a lot of tricks that you don't have to worry about when you're dealing with those small quantities like that.
Okay.
So we got flour, yeast, and salt, and then we got sugar. All right. So like I said, you can have a little bit of fat, a little bit of melted butter or soft butter. You can do anything. You can put salt, pepper. It's like any kind of dough actually. It's just that this one is sugar dough, so we're gonna make it sweet. All right. And when you mix, you always mix on slow speed. Don't go too fast because you don't have your kitchen. Okay? And I usually start with a little bit of water because in my recipe I use water and milk. And I use also milk powder. So it's kind of, I'm not using just milk, I'm using milk powder and water because both together makes milk. The idea is because flour catch faster the water catch faster the flour than the milk. So when you deal with big quantity, once again, you want it to be all inside the dough. You don't want the flour left out in the bowl. So that's why. But when you're dealing with small quantity like that, you can use milk. It'll work. And look, I'm not going to pour it all the way. I'm going to take my time.
and the milk does not have to be scalded or anything?
Say it again.
The milk doesn't have to be scalded or anything, just,
I just took it off the fridge. Cool it down. Everybody see what? Do you see? So I'm just pouring and let it mix.
So are you adding fat here?
Excuse me?
Are you adding fat, like butter?
If you want to, I'm not today, but
But you have that fat first and then
yes, always the fat first. It's part of the wet ingredients. I always finish with the milk or the water. And the reason why also you're going slow with the bowl and the mixer is because you don't want the croissant dough gets too much strength, because you need it to be flexible. When you're gonna pour the butter in and fold it, if your dough is too stretched, it will be impossible to flatten it and then to fold it. That's why you have to go slowly. Today I'm making 1 kilo of flour. At home you don't need that much. You see how many croissants we're going to do today. But since we got everybody to try to get a bite of it, I assume we need more. I gave you a recipe that always works. But what happens sometimes it might be a little wet, a little too dry. So there's always some adjustment to be made. Now I feel like I won't have enough milk, so I'm gonna finish up with water just to bring a little bit more. Oh wait, make sure it's all mixed together.
So if you've added your fat already, if it's butter, do you melt the butter? So that's
Yeah, I
the-
would leave it out overnight and put it soft in it.
Oh, sorry. You just did it.
I haven't scaled how much I'm gonna pour. It'll depend on what it looks like to me, and I will explain you what I want. So you can see there's still a lot of flour trapped around. That's why I need to keep on mixing. How much fat? I would have had 2 ounces for a kilo of flour, just a little. Remember, we still put butter after. So, it's getting close. I'm just waiting a couple of seconds to see what happens in my bowl. And I know that it's a small mixer, so as long as I use the hook like that, it will warm up the dough. It's also going to make the gluten getting stronger. So I have to watch it so it doesn't get too strong too fast. So I'm just going to stop it quick. There's a few left on the bottom here, but it doesn't sound it's a big problem for me. So what I do, I will just pull it out and finish it by hand, and then let it rest. I couldn't see the bottom. You understand now the idea of the wet and the dry ingredients? Because there's some flour on the bottom. I did not see it when I mixed it. So I'm gonna pour a little bit more water. Let it mix for maybe a minute or so. That'll be fine. Make sure you put the secret, it will come up. Alright.
So I thought baking was a science and everything had to be measured properly.
It is.
You're using a lot of judgment as opposed to.
Well, every day is different. I don't know if you've seen that, but 4 years ago I was on Channel 2. I was interviewed by Rhonda McBride. I don't know if you saw that article, and she asked me the same question that you do, and I said, but look, outside is different. Every day is different. Some days it's going to be wet, some days it's going to be dry, some days it's going to be snowy, some days it's going to be sunny. So flour is the same, water is the same. They behave according also to the atmosphere. If it's some day in my bakery, it will be very dry, so I have to put a little bit more water. Someday, like summertime, last summer it was so hot. We had to really put a lot of ice in the water. Because if it warm up too fast, it will mess up the whole process. Because it will be rising too fast. It will be totally different. So it's true. It's not true, but it's true. But it's true. You're totally right. And also, when you read a recipe on a book, they don't give you those tips because it's just a book, but once you practice, you understand there's always a little bit of...
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. That's why they teach you that at school. Alright, so I'm going to show you the dough. And it's totally mixed inside. It's kind of wet. It's kind of sticky too, but it's fine. Everything's mixed, that's why I want it. So you can tell it's not dry, it's a pretty sticky dough. It is on purpose. So another trick. Let the dough rest. At school they teach you make a bowl and put it in a cooler. You don't have to wait for 3 hours. Another trick is you make it flat. It'll cool down faster. And I put flour so it doesn't stick on my hand. And also after you have to put butter in it. So you're gonna have to flatten it. So if you just flatten it like that, you're gonna have to work on the dough a little bit more. So since I know I have to put the butter in my dough, I always make it square earlier. So I don't have to work on it. Because I'm not that strong, as you can see. I like my machines. Alright. And wrap. Always wrap. Why? Someone
Dry.
Yeah. You have to stay very moist.
So they keep the flies off.
Maybe in another state.
Could you repeat again why you're doing that? We didn't hear you in the back.
Why are you doing what?
You're putting the plastic wrap on it.
Because if you put in a cooler, the moist of the cooler is going to make it dry. And because the air is being blown into the cooler. So it's like if you want to leave it out like that, in 10 minutes it will be totally dry on top.
Okay.
And I put it in a cooler because I want it to get cold fast, because I need to put my butter inside. If it's too warm, it will be sticky on my hand.
What did you do to prep your plate, your pan?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I did nothing. You can
Took the
put some
paper off.
flour.
When you took the parchment off.
Oh, you
I
took
may
the
have to
large
scrape
flower.
it over the road, but it's not here. But you don't have to do anything. So another trick that I did not tell you at the beginning is in croissants, in bread, we also use what we call dough conditioner. I don't know if you're aware of what it is. It's a powder you buy in a food store, and it helps to develop the dough a little bit better than normal.
Lecithin or
To do
something
what?
like that?
Excuse me?
Isn't it lecithin or something
Is it
like that?
It's not good. Well, what I was told at school, it's imagine a big piece of dough that is being dried out for hours and hours, and you turn that into powder. And within those hours, what happens is the dough is fermenting. And hours after hours, it's fermenting so fast, the fermentation is very concentrated.
It's like a starter.
It's like a starter, yeah. It's a little bit more complicated than this, because they call it on my bag FRP46.
Is that mainly just for large batches then?
Yeah,
Making a lot?
yeah. You don't need to use that at home.
Yeah.
But when we deal with big quantity, you use that because you're gonna have to sometimes let the dough in the freezer for a couple of days,
Okay.
so the yeast doesn't burn.
So you put it in with your flour to start
Yep,
with?
it's a dry ingredient.
Okay.
It is called dough conditioner. FRP46. So the reason why I tell you that is I don't have any here, but I'm going to use what I have left in this bowl because it's sugar, it's salt, it's a lot of mix, and I put that in my bread, and that's usually what I use in my bread when I make it in the morning. I put either way a little piece of croissant dough that I have left from the day before, or a dough conditioner. It will depend on what I have left.
Oh.
And in France, most of the bakery, they use that process when they make their bread. They keep some part of the bread from the day before and put in a new batch in the morning, and that brings some flavor out. It's a process called gluteinization. I mean, it's part of the process of the developing the flavor. It's very, very good. I like it. I used to do that when I was an apprentice. It's actually not a very rewarding work because you have to steal that dough for hours. It's like doing the dishes sometimes. Okay, so last year I think I made some bread, and but I did it by hand, and the result was kind of it was okay, but the dough wasn't proofing very fast, and I remember it was a little bit dry also on the outside. So today we're going to try to make it perfect. So you got the recipe of bread, and as you can see, it's very simple. Flour, yeast, salt, and water only. There's no fat, nothing like that. If you're looking for a dough with fat, then you turn into what we call a white loaf, like a bun bread or white bread bun, something like that. Like the bread you have for the hot dogs, they're made out of shortening, milk powder, and different fats that bring a lot of moisture. When you press them, they stay flat because it's very fatty. The bread, you can press it, it'll come back the same. At least 1 or 2 times. Keep on pressing it. Okay, so 1 kilo of flour. So I have to say I never tried to make as much quantity with a so small mixer. So I hope it's gonna work. Because it's you got to mix for 10-15 minutes. So hopefully it'll work. It will work.
Can you use this recipe for like wheat flour or something like that?
So when I make wheat bread, I would do like 3/4 white bread and 1/4 wheat bread, because if you put only wheat flour, there's not enough gluten, and in the wheat flour you will find a lot of seeds, peels, anything like that is being shredded, but in a mix it'll break the gluten. I mean, there's only one secret when you make a dough is gluten. You need some gluten to make it rise, to make it whole. If your gluten's weak, then your dough's gonna be very weak, it won't rise, it won't proof. If the gluten's strong, at the really opposite, if the gluten is very strong, you'll make it like that, but that's not what you want. Usually the manufacturer, when they provide flour, they give you on the bags the direction how to use that flour. Because they've been making so many experiences, they know exactly how the flours behave in so different kind of moisture, or in the oven, how long it's going to rise, etc. etc. It's those flours highly selected. They know what they're doing. Yeast, once again. And I'm going to put the salt at the end. Why? Because if you put the salt too early in the bowl, in your bread, it will make it get warm faster. The salt has different property. It helps to bring out the flavor. It helps also to reveal the flavor, but it helps also to warm up the dough, because salt make the yeast is going to start eating it, and it gets warm faster. So I usually put it at the end, so I don't get my dough rising too fast.
Are you using table salt or kosher salt or what?
Table salt.
Table salt?
You need a salt who's going to be melting in the water fast. If you're using rock salt, it'll take forever, and you get a lot of crunch.
Now, you're not using, or are you using iodized salt or just salt?
Salt?
Okay.
Just table salt, the same as you can find in the store. Mine is called sea salt, but that's a very fine salt. See? If you want to have a look. So I'm going to start the baguette. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed again. Because I wrote 650 milliliters, but we have to play around there. Okay, so you start once again slow speed. So I have close to 650, a little bit more. And once again, you can put the wet ingredient on the bottom if you want, which is actually a good idea on a small mixer like that. You can see the hook is kind of small. You don't see it going very much on the bottom. So that would be a good trick to put a little bit of water first and then finish up. That way you're sure you don't have the problem that it's trapped under.
Is the temperature of your water critical at all?
It is. like I told you, it will depend. If it's hot outside, I'm gonna have to put ice in it. I did not because it's pretty cool here. It's very cool. My flowers are the same temperature, so my water is city water, so it's already room temperature also. So I don't see no big deal at all that something's too hot, so I have to. That's why I don't take too much precaution. But at home it will be about the same temperature in the kitchen, because your flower is going to be the same temperature than your kitchen, and your water is going to be city water too, so it should be fine. In a bakery we have no heat, so in the morning when it's cold, it's cold. When you turn on the oven, 3 hours later it will be warm in here. So
it's rather cool water. It's not like, I was just thinking like proofing yeast, you know, they always say like 110 to 120, something like that. So you don't want it warm like that.
No. If it's too hot at the beginning, like I said, it'll rise too fast. Make sure it's cool, but not hot, not warm, cool. Okay. Not too cool, huh? Alright, so I have some flour here that's not being mixed, so I'm going to pour water to get it catch. Alright, now I'm going to put a little bit more speed. We're going to take our time. The beginning is always critical. If everything's mixed well, it'll be easy. If you gotta wait a little bit longer, it'll be because you really need everything being all the same uniform kind of texture. You don't want any flour.
It's kneading it at the
yes.
same time. So.
And the dough is gonna change. Right now it's pretty dry and wet, both at the same time. Once it's been mixed together, it'll be very smooth. So I was expecting that it would be a little bit more complicated after a while, because it's a small bowl, there's not a lot of room, so it takes a little bit longer. But be patient, don't get too much spin, go step by step. So I have a little bit of flour down, but I'm gonna wait because there's a lot of dough on top that hasn't been mixed together. I take my time. I don't know if you really see it from there, but the dough is getting smoother now. You don't have too many crumbs. It's getting. When I make my bread in the morning, I'm very patient. I'm not trying to do anything else, or maybe I'm just warming up my water or something else. But I keep an eye on it. I really keep an eye on it.
When are you gonna add the salt?
Close to 3-4 minutes before I stop it. Like I said, too early you'll warm up the dough, so just at the end. Because the next step is a proofing time. 30 minutes, 25-30 minutes on the table rising. So the salt is gonna work. See, I did not put any more water. It was fine enough for me, and it got all caught together. So like I said, you can do it by hand. You put it on the table and you fold it and put it back again and fold it. I'm a little bit lazy. Yeah. If you want, I can. Who wants to? Okay, so I'm gonna stop quick so I can show you. The dough is getting different. It's not ready yet. You can see the dough is getting all at once, a block. It was first of all a lot of crumbs, now it's getting pretty similar. But once again we need to keep on.
to his village and dance in the gardens. So that was kind of exciting. And then the youngest one is so funny. So he has big parties.
Just for me, not to move. Oh.
His fiance watches. It's a great set up. They're perfectly happy that way. Literally, two of them are married and one's getting married.
I did not put it by right, that's one.
But yeah, they shared cooking.
Do you experiment with gluten-free at all?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Have you experimented with
That they could still survive.
Not really. I mostly work with yeast in the bakery. I know when you use something gluten-free, you have to use some ingredients like
Because not everybody
gum.
do that.
I haven't really worked with it.
It does.
So, I'm just finishing with that bowl because I guess I have a hard time to put it back on. Now I go a little bit more speed, but be careful. The motor is getting warm. You gotta be careful, but it's okay. I'll be able to put my salt in.
About how many minutes are you needing it?
Sorry, I didn't hear that question.
How long are you going to need it?
10-12 minutes.
10 to 12?
I got a timer in my shirt, I told you that before. I'm used to do it. I know that basically when I just mix at the beginning it's 3-4 minutes, then I would go on higher speed for 3-4 minutes, then I pour the salt and let it mix again for 3-4 minutes. So now all my dough is getting stuck to my hook, so I'm just going to put it down and I can tell the dough is getting close. If you really want a good result, try with less quantity, like half of what we're doing today. It'll be way much more easier. That way the hook will be able to really walk into the bowl instead of being stuck with all that bowl. Because right now, as you can see, it's all stuck inside, so it's not easy. If you cut it half, it will be perfect. But you see, we're gonna have a good result anyway. What I'm going to do to finish it up, I will just finish up on the table. So, as you can see, it's pretty good, huh? Mm-hmm. Look, when I stretch it, it's not cracking much. It's pretty staying the same. So it's on its way. And okay, I'm going to show you a couple of movements if you want to do it by hand. As I was told, we have a camera, so I need to. Okay, so what I do, I will grab it and fold it inside like that, and grab it, fold it inside. See? Strong. Someone want to try? Here, I may stretch it, it holds, it's not cracking.
So what are you actually doing to the dough right now?
I'm just working on the gluten, because I'm doing nothing but folding and folding and folding. She's doing the job. All I do is give her some movement, give her some heat, But what I really want to do,
I think so.
the process of gluten is not very hard to understand, but it's pretty chemical. Imagine the wheat. When you get moist on the wheat, there's a chemical reaction starting between yeast and water, and it starts breathing. The wheat starts breathing, and there's some air coming out of that breeze. And the air trapped into the wheat and the water, it's like a thick dough. The air is pushing, but the wheat is strong, so it's pushing and pushing, but it holds together. And that's what I'm trying to help her out to do. I'm folding her, so I bring a lot of heat, a lot of movement, so she's breathing faster and faster. And now I can stretch and stretch, it won't break. So the gluten is strong, that's what you want. And you see when you let it rise, it'll rise without cracking.
What is a good indication that you've kneaded it enough?
It would get softer, because right now it's pretty strong.
Okay.
It will also start shining a little, because of, I can explain, huh? Because of the air in contact of the water in the dough. Make it shine. The light and the air touch the dough, and you can tell it starts shining. So when it starts sticking a little bit, and also when you can tell the dough is getting warm. Right now it's cold. When it rises, it will get warm. Like you, when you're moving much, you're getting warm too. Same for her. I call her her. We understand each other. So I repeat, half of that quantity in the mixer would have worked. Half too much. So I need to finish it with my hand. But I give you an idea on how you can do it by hand too. We understand each other.
Aerobics for the day.
So you're not incorporating any more flour into that?
Nope. I feel like my dough's got enough. It's got enough moist. It's got enough flour. It's got enough yeast. I'm just gonna let her work. And while I'm touching her right now, I can tell she's getting warm. It was cold when I just first touched it. Now it's warmer. And you can smell the yeast flavors coming out more than it was when I just touched it. So I repeat the movement. You just grab the dough from the outside and push it inside. 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 Outside. Inside. Outside. I don't need that. Everybody see it? Like that. And now you can see it's firmer. You don't scratch anything. Try to hurry a little. At home you can easily do that. That's what they teach you at school the first time. They don't have that. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the dough rise a little before I touch it again. Always on the table, covered. Once again, if it's not covered, there's no milk, so there's no fat. It's only pure water and flour. It will get dry faster than the croissant. In the croissant, you got milk, so there's a little bit of fat, so I will preserve it longer than the baguette. Because, see how...
So it'd be good if you want to take your frustrations out if you're upset.
So when you
I give you a trick. Do never think about your problem when you bake or cook, or you cut your finger, or be calm and quiet. One time I remember I was beating up some dough with my roll pen, and I had some saute. BAM! Excuse me.
So if you
when it bakes, if it cracks on the side, it's because it hasn't been, the gluten hasn't been worked.
It's not mixed enough. When it's mixed enough, you can tell it's not cracking anymore.
Yeah, and so.
Let me go and get my butter out.
Actually, mix it too much.
That's right, yeah.
The next step, we're putting the butter in the croissants. So I set up my butter this morning. I flatten it. So I'm going to show you before I finish it. I just take my pound of butter, I cut it in half, and I beat it with my rubber pen like that. Think about good stuff. Keep your hands on the table. And I'm also trying to warm it up too, because it's pretty cold. The colder the butter, the harder it's going to be too. And I'm already scared about the next step. Because I have to roll it myself. It's better when it's unsalted. But I use salted today because I did not put much salt in this one. Usually I would put a little bit more salt in my dough and unsalted butter. I like it best, that's just me. And I usually prefer butter that have a lot of flavor than mine. This one, I choose this one once again because mine I get it from a special provider. I just put this one out because it's Costco. Costco they carry a very mild butter, very light. When you eat it's light. There's a lot of water in that butter. So, but I prefer Irish butter or. I haven't found much butter different here, but the Irish ones, usually I get is very, you have a lot of flavor, you can tell. It's been prepared with less, they put a lot of water in those butter because that helps them, the water is cheap and the fat is more expensive than the water. So it's, don't worry, it's everywhere the same in the world. Right? But
that's why they say that the bread and so on in Paris is so delicious because of that, the ingredients.
In France, you have some rules you have to follow if you want to open a business. Like you cannot buy your butter in a store. You have to go by a special provider. That's the difference. When I make my groceries, I can go to Costco, Sam's, or any kind of provider, find my own. But in France, you can. So that's why the food in restaurants and bakeries are always better quality than at home. Not always. I've seen some terrible restaurants. In general, I mean. Okay. So as you can see, I just let my dough on the side and do something else. My butter is getting warmer, I can tell. Okay, I'm going to get the croissant. Croissant dough that we did before. So I'm flouring my table so it doesn't stick on it. That's the only purpose of it.
What's the normal rise time? I know you said you're speeding this up for today. How long is it normally in the fridge?
It's not rising in the cooler. All I want it to do is to get a little bit colder so I can thaw it more. So it all depends on how you want it cold.
Okay.
I know I can do it even if it's warm. But at home, just make sure your dough is pretty cold. I would say 3-4 hours. In books, they would say 30 minutes to an hour. But all the coolers are different. You have some coolers are getting cold fast, some are not. This one is pretty fast actually. It's cold, huh? I can tell. Alright, so now the process of putting the butter in. You probably made some dough before at home, you have to flour your table and it's the same. Just need to. I flip it so I can have it on both sides, fold it. And I turn it 90 degrees, you know this? Like that, like that. So it helps me to get it flat everywhere. And I never make it wider than the size of my roll pan. Just because it's easier. I don't need to. Don't laugh, I've seen that. I see a lady making wider. What are you doing? Okay, so this is the size of my butter. This is about the size of my dough. It's about twice the size. And I'm trying to make an envelope. Okay? So I'm putting the dough outside and the butter inside. And I put it inside.
You'd have extra fiber if you leave the paper on,
Okay, so now I'm going to fold the dough onto the butter. So you understand the dough will be surrounding the butter. And I push to make sure it sticks. And I will show you what's the end of it. See, I made an envelope. Now is the hardest part. Don't worry, don't be cheap flour, because if you don't, it will stick on your table and get harder. And now so you're trying to get the dough longwise, because you need to fold it in three, like that, like that. So make it long. I think the last time I did that I was in school.
I have a question.
Yes.
I make bread and I make it with sourdough because yeast is expensive, for one thing. If I get my sourdough with the right consistency, could I do that? Could I use that technique and make a sourdough croissant?
Yeah. I don't see why not. Once again, you can try anything. I give you a basic recipe of croissants, but for example, we have another dough called brioche.
Yes.
Brioche is usually just a simple mix. What we do sometimes, it happens, we do a brioche dough, we flatten it, and we fold butter in it. So that's very buttery actually. But we use that dough also to make something different. The rising is going to be different, the flavor is going to be different. And I get to your question. In France, there's another cake called Queen Yaman. The story is, it was in the 1930s, 1940s. The wife of the baker came into the bakery and says, "Oh, we have no more croissant, what are we going to do?" And the guy grabbed a piece of bread, fold butter in it and sugar, and make a very famous cake now that we have, the Queen Yaman. So this is kind of a sourdough. It's pretty similar, it's a bread dough. So of course you can.
Yeah, the technique is what I'm interested in because I think maybe I could do it with the sourdough.
Yeah, of course. What I'm doing here, the same technique. Yes, sir?
What kind of chocolate would you use for a chocolate croissant?
I brought some here, the one I use myself.
Oh, you're going to make
chocolate chips?
Chocolate chips?
Yeah. Chocolate's good, huh? Where it comes from? I'm okay. Actually, yeah. It's okay, I enjoy it. Getting close. So I use my forearm and just, if you want, you can do that, put it on the other side and roll it on the end. What I'm trying to get it wider so I can make a nice roll, because I know I'm going to have to roll it again. So if it's too small, it will be too hard for me. Yes, it's over there. And that's the reason why when you make the dough in the bowl, do not make it mix too long, because if it's too strong, it will be tough to Because as you can see, when I roll it out, it's coming back. Because the gluten's strong. All those mistakes that you do when you first start. Trust me, I made a lot. Okay, that'll be enough. So, you see the way it looks? Now I'm going to do 1 time, 2 times. Can we do it again? You see it? Okay. So, I'm going to help me out a little bit. I'll just beat it a little. Just help me out.
So our first winner of our gift certificate is Tom.
I like it, Robert.
I've got one of those other ones that are like this, and then it's so you can't use the whole thing.
It's actually easier now that I have 2 folds of butter inside. That makes me happy. You won't? Because I checked the temperature when I took it. You remember I beat it up, so I checked how warm, how cold it was. I know exactly how I want it to fall in my dough. If it's too warm, it'll break. If it's too cold, you'll make a lot of pieces of butter everywhere. So usually kind of put your finger in, but not too much. Leave a fingerprint when you push it, that's it. But not too far, just a little.
How many times do you fold it in thirds?
That's the second time, it'll be the same. Just
I guess, yeah, right?
You can do it 3-4 times if you want. The problem is you're gonna make your leaves between butters very thin. When it rises, they'll crack and they'll be glued to each other. If you make like 5 folds, it'll be all stuck together. When it's gonna rise and cook, it'll be very chewy. Because you got yeast, so you want it to rise, not to be glued. Okay, pretty good. I'm just gonna flour it all. I need a little bit of strength on it. Okay, and now one last time. 1 and 2. No more. I don't touch it. I will put it in my cooler a little bit. So the next step, we're gonna have to flatten it, cut it, and roll it.
So Antoine, is that the same process of what you're doing for the other dough too when you're rolling?
No, because we don't put any butter in this one. We're just gonna cut it and fold it.
Chef Antoine?
Yes.
Is that like a puff pastry at this point?
It's same process, but that's different. In puff pastry, there's no yeast. Have you ever eaten puff pastry? You know what it tastes? It's pretty crunchy. This is not crunchy, this is soft because of the yeast. So now is your turn. So first of all, look at the dough, how it rises. It got bigger already. And remember what you asked me, when do you feel it's ready? It starts sticking, and if you look at it's shining a little on the edge, it's shining a little, so it's getting, and also it's getting warmer. So that's the little tricks when I see it's ready or not. So do you want to fold it yourself? Somebody wants? Fold it yourself? You want to try?
The dough for I can do it.
Go wash your hands.
Wash hands.
Not everybody.
So yeah, when you work with dough, you have to be manual. Huh? You cannot use tool. It's only your own hands are gonna make it.
So how many baguettes is that gonna do?
That? I don't know, 6, 7 at the most.
How long are they usually? I know they're small.
That size? Yeah, that's fine.
You're kidding.
Yeah, you get a kilo. Yeah, maybe 6, 7 baguettes.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not gonna make baguette today.
Oh, no.
You wanna make baguette? We can make a baguette.
What were you gonna make?
I was mostly thinking about little dinner rolls, but we can make a baguette.
Okay.
We can make a baguette, fine. Just do a
Yeah,
baguette.
it's just what you
Let's
do.
do both.
Now you have to get up here and help.
Okay, so I'll show you the baguette. Baguette. So usually take something about that size. I think it's about close to 10 ounces. I would flatten it, and look, I take one end, I push inside, 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 and make it longer. Once again, take it, push inside, push inside. Do that. It's wider again, and I finish. I try to make it round at the end. Once again. Okay? And I finish it by rolling it. There you go. You got a baguette.
You can make a pretzel out of it, too.
Your turn?
I guess so.
Alright. Okay.
So am I kneading or am I doing what you just did there?
Flatten it like I did first. Don't be afraid.
Don't be so nice.
Tell me, don't get out any aggression.
Okay. So now, with your thumb, you grab it and you push like that. Okay. So make sure you don't stick your baguette on the table, or it'll stuck. Once again, do the same.
Bottom?
Start from the left or from the right, depends on. No,
do I do
not
this
the
one?
bottom. I always
Okay.
go the same side. Okay.
Mine doesn't look so perfect.
It's okay. And you can do it again, a little bit more, and try to get something like that at the end. So the trick, I don't know. You're cheating.
Always.
Like that. Try to make it round.
Okay.
So I do that. I do this, and I move. Move on each side of the baguette. You got it. Okay, let's put there. So we said 6, 7 baguettes. We need 4 more volunteers. Okay. Okay. So keep on doing. Just okay. So now you should do it again, once again, what you just did. To make it round. Like that. Yeah, the seam. Okay. See, I'm talking to a professional. The seam. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's move that on. We don't need that. Just be careful. Okay, so I'm cutting. It's fine. Look at that. We have a nice baguette. Thank you very much. Your turn. And you can put a little bit of flowers on the table. Your turn. Okay, so before you do that, make sure you have it flat on the right. Yeah. And then you pinch in the dough. I am not. I'm going to show you again, just so you know. I'm not pinching. I'm just.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we couldn't see that one right there.
Yes. So don't be afraid. Nice and there you go. Now I'm going to show you just the beginning. Do something like that. And we go halfway. Yeah.
Put some chocolate chips in yours.
Yes, one more time. No, this time, yeah, I would. Let me just show you to finish it up. I would do like that to make it round.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last time you just made them round.
Yeah, and make sure it's not sticking to your table, and then you would just roll it like that at the end to make it round. I got two more ones here. I got two more baguettes. All right. Sounds good to me. Put it with the others. Thank you very much. And two more volunteers here. Okay. Ah, I can tell you already made some dough before. Okay, so now you would have to fold it like that. So you put my thumbs and I push on top like that. Yes, you can do it one more time if you want. Yes, now you have to make it longer because yours is too short. So you start from the center and you push from the end. There you go. To do it right, now you have to. Okay, so this time, now you'll be able to stick it from the table and start rolling like I did, like that. Yep, that works for me.
This is like, I have no idea how they got so flaky like that.
Yes, that'll be perfect. Okay. Do you have just a saucepan? A saucepan or something so I can heat up some water?
Right, go in front over here, where the breads are.
Where the bread around.
This way. Oh.
Right, and then you just the pot.
There's no. There's none. Yeah, there's none here. So our baguette is going to need to be proof. The reason why I didn't want to do baguette today is because they won't fit in my oven. I'm going to have to cut them in half, okay? So don't take it personal, those are great baguettes, but so I'm using this oven off as a proofing room. I need a proofer to make my dough rise.
So what temperature did you put it at?
I did not, but that's why I'm asking for a pot. So I'm going to heat up some water and throw the water in, bring some moist. Should have rolled on.
What temperature do you have your proofing oven at?
Nothing.
No, nothing?
Usually at the bakery it's 85 degrees.
Oh, okay.
But right now it's in the oven. I heat it up a little bit when I walk in. So I'm pretty sure it's the right temperature.
Okay.
But the hot water steamed in the oven is going to bring a lot of heat.
How do they get like a hard crust on it? Like they use
It's
water?
because of the moist.
Water? Steam?
Yeah, when you put some moist, it will steam the dough and get the gluten to get hard on the outside.
Where you put water in the oven with it? If you're making something like this, afterwards, and when you're ready to be baked, put them in, and then you put water. A mystery, and then just mist the whole oven and then close it down. So that gives that steam.
And that causes that crust on it.
Yeah, or you could also have a very hot
Improvisation. I'm going to use that as a pot.
into that, like underneath. Just when you put the bread in, fill it with water. It just steams when you close it.
Now we're going to be working on the croissants.
So you get sort of European recipe.
So when I took the dough, I'll try it. Punched in twice a week, and I didn't really trade to get very far from the kitchen because I thought I was first in the place. I want to be there with the
So, do you want a Swiss steak? Okay. I brought some ham and cheese. We'll be making some ham and cheese croissants, chocolate chip, chocolate croissants, and butter croissants. My dough is cold. Fine.
There we go.
Took something. Oh, you got it. I think I burned your towel on it, that's why. I'm sorry. I thought it would work. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's hard.
Okay, so get yourself organized at home. Okay, so croissants. This time we don't make any more fold. We flatten it and then we roll it.
Why did you choose pastry over other careers within?
I like doing. I got a sweet tooth, I guess.
You're pretty skinny for.
I'm doing a lot of walking.
Where's the calories?
After a
Does it
while,
matter how long you cool it? I mean, if you start to make it, put it into cool, and say kid falls off his bike and you spend the rest of the day in the emergency room.
Bigger problem.
Take it with you and do it there.
Can do it tomorrow?
Yeah. Or do you need to let it warm up, or has it
No.
basically gone past the...
It'll be cool. That's all. When we do it in the bakery, we make one day the dough and we throw the butter in, and the next day we roll them out.
Do you let it set out already to soften before you start rolling?
No.
You have a machine.
No. The butter is no longer that thick because it's been folded. So it's, as you can see, it's not that hard. Puff pastry is harder because there's no yeast, so the dough is stronger. But croissant is okay. Okay, so it'll stick a little bit on my table, so I'm adding more flour, and once again I don't scale it. It's just when you make recipe, you know you're gonna have to add some flour after, so you don't set up the recipe right exactly. It's a lot of roll, huh? But if you do it with a smaller quantity, it won't be that hard. It'll be easier. Okay, I don't think I'm getting better on this. Unless someone stronger wants to try. But I'll be fine for what we need.
Well, the handle shouldn't be that hard.
What shelf are you putting that in?
I put it on the bottom so the steam comes up.
How thin do you roll out your croissant?
It would be a little bit thinner than this. Right now I have about that size. I would like smaller than this. I'll try.
What are your specialty desserts at the cafe?
Mine?
Yeah.
I like chocolate eclair.
Chocolate eclair.
I used to have some when I was a kid, so still love it.
And tiramisu?
Yeah, I like it too. But the reason why I'm skinny is because I don't eat so much at all. When you've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine every day? Diabetic.
Willpower.
Okay, so I have something pretty thin. It's cool. So I need a volunteer once again. We're gonna roll croissants. So I'm making long line like that, and I will cut them in triangles. Like that, triangle, alternated.
What is your cutter called?
Dough cutter.
Dough cutter. Chef.
Chef dough cutter.
There you go.
Okay, so what you do, you flatten it and then you roll it like that. Okay?
Okay.
Same thing. We're making butter croissant, you just roll it like that. Okay? And we will flour that plate and put them on. Yep.
How wide is that strip you cut? Couple inches?
Yeah. I'm making little croissants, you see here too. Yeah? Always the seam on the bottom. See the seam? I always put it on the bottom. So when it rises, it's there. Because if you put it like that, it will open up. We can put them on the tray when you're done. Also. Like that. Okay.
That's the same idea.
I'm going to move myself on the left. Wow. Many more volunteers. We have a lot to work.
Oh, they're doing a great job.
Next holiday at my sister's house.
Someone else?
You said you put the seam on the bottom, like the seam of the tip?
Yeah, because if you put it on the top, when you will rise, it will open.
Right, okay.
If you put it on the bottom, the weight of the croissant will keep it down. And this one we can put chocolate chips, for example. So I just grab 3 or 4 chocolate chips. 5 or 6.
Wow.
And I put it inside. I just put it inside.
Huh.
Like that. It's inside. All right.
What about raspberry?
It's like chocolate chip right inside there.
Now we're gonna run out of room. We need more volunteers. Okay, so we're gonna make still chocolate here. Okay. So I show you.
Yeah, I did after I had
Then you fold inside like that. There you go.
Could you experiment, try like pineapple and all that?
Oh yeah, I already did.
Already did.
You already did.
Yeah. I give the spot next for another lady.
Okay.
The next one.
Are we putting ham and cheese in some of these?
Yeah, go ahead.
For like another $20 or something at Fred Meyer's.
I show you this one. So we cut in triangle. And we're going to put some ham and cheese in it.
What kind of cheese are you using? Swiss?
Swiss. Swiss is good. You can use any kind of cheese. Blue cheese, Parmesan cheese, anything.
So our second winner of our gift certificate is Kathy.
I'm cutting some pieces of ham also.
Say, it takes any time.
Okay. And someone's gonna help you. We can put cheese, ham, and roll it around. I will show you again. I just put some piece of ham and cheese together and roll around. There you go. All right.
All right, cool.
Thank you, sir. I just need a little spot.
Okay,
If you don't mind. Thank you very much.
You need another pan?
Yes, I have another.
I don't know how close you're supposed to put these. How close are you supposed to put them?
Yeah, I spread them out. Okay. All
We had
right.
a little thing going here. You know, I saw that firework.
And what I did, I hit the other oven a little bit, I turn it off, and I'm going to put that water inside. So I have a second proofer.
How long do they leave this big?
Until they rise, yes. We'll finish them in the oven. When you do that at home, you get all your time.
Pound the dough down a little.
Just take your time, let them rise. When they have rise in your oven, take them out. Put a little flour on it. Turn your oven. Put your rice in the kitchen, then once again put them in your oven. Right now we don't need to overlap, so we got to say
I guess you figure it out.
I put on my head the crunchy and the higher the possibility. If your oven is too low,
Okay, looks fabulous.
you need some heat. Okay, and where's the last? Oh, you already
We
already
did
cut
it.
it.
We didn't wait, sorry.
Don't be worried.
We're gonna get together.
I'm always hiring. Okay, so I have my baguette almost ready. No, I should be able to do it. Yep.
Now I know I can chocolate.
So my baguette rise a little. I don't know if you remember what they look like. They were thinner. It's been only 15-20 minutes, but that's already. So if you leave them like half an hour, they get bigger. Okay? So one trick that I give you, when you put them in your oven, first of all, I'd suggest you heat up some water in a saucepan. Put your saucepan for 5 minutes in the oven. So the steam will come out of the pan. And then remove the saucepan, put your tray in. That way, when you start your bread, it will be moist inside your oven. Hot water, if you put it cold, nothing's going to happen. When we steam the water in the oven, it's water pressure. So it steams a lot, very fast. It's cold water, but it's so pressurized, the water just gets blown away. But at home, you just use a saucepan, heat it up, put it in your oven for 5 minutes. Be careful, take a glove, of course. Because I've seen a lot myself. I burn myself sometimes in a rush. I grab it. So that happens. So and then put your oven in. It'll be fine. All right, we're gonna put it in. If you have a razor blade, you can make some cut. It's nice. I don't have, but I can make some cut with my knife like that. Just simple cuts. Just do that.
What is the oven temperature?
425 with the vent. I put the fan on. It's important because if you don't put the fan, those ovens are pretty light. They don't cook very fast. So if you put the fan on, you'll blow the air. It'll cook faster. Then put it higher. 450, 475.
Oh, this is a convection oven. No, I have one of those.
All right.
Don't know how to turn it on, but that's it. Except when you bust it on it.
Is there another pan? Can you give another pan?
I will get some. I have to make room.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's these are all chocolate.
I put the pan before because I put them again, and I use them like a stone if I have a stone in my oven. So I put those fresh pan on a hot one, so bring the flavor out from the bottom. And we need to put those in the proofer.
What did you say about the stone in the oven?
I just put some of those pans already before in my oven to have them hot.
Oh.
Because I'm trying to create like if I had a stone in it.
Oh, I see. Guys.
This was on the left.
So I'm heating up my water a little bit more because it's getting cold.
Convection. Oh. Yeah. So he hasn't told us to do this.
Same process, bring some moist. Hot water will bring a lot of moist in the oven.
But you don't have that oven on, right?
No, it's off.
It's off, right?
Because I need room temperature, but I need moist. I don't have. No, it's off. I just use it as a steaming room. It's like a sauna, but just with water. This one I put it on 450 on top, 475, 450. I have a fan on, so it'll cook fast. If you don't have a fan, a little bit higher, 475. I cook my bread in my oven, 470. Just the bread. So they reach up to 485. That's why you get that crust, that thick crust. 470, yes. Remember, the higher the oven, the quicker it will cook also. So be careful, keep an eye on it. If it's 470 in a little oven like that, 6-7 minutes, keep an eye on it, and maybe every minute you check it out. Depends on how dark you want the crust. If you want it light or... So once again, hot water in my oven for steaming.
Yeah, that's a conveyor. That oven is terrible. He just, that's why.
Baguette's looking good.
Oh, he's not. Okay, he's just prepping her while in there before he takes.
If I had an extra pan, I would. Oh, here's the glove. I was looking for that.
There we go. I knew it had.
I just need one.
It wouldn't make sense.
Thank you.
But you want to take it far enough ahead.
I flour my pan so it doesn't stick on it. It's easier to remove the croissant.
Do you proof all your bread with water?
Sorry, ma'am?
All your bread?
With steam. Fortunately, I don't do that every day. I don't put my pan saucepan. Yeah, I have a proofer. It's steaming water already.
I have a question for you.
Yes?
Are the croissants as well as the baguette cooked at 470, both of them? No.
The croissants are cooked lower because 425 because you got a lot of different ingredients. You got butter, you got milk. It will turn brown if you cook it too high.
Well, when you say bread, you mean baguette, or if you say loaf of bread? Either one.
Excuse me, ma'am?
When you say the bread, you're talking here the baguette. Is it, and that would be at 470?
Yes, for the baguette bread, because there's only water, flour, yeast and salt on it. So there's no creamy reaction.
Right.
So I have my baguette in the oven, I have my croissants in the proofer, and I use the other one for also proofing. And I left my fingerprint.
She'll have to stay in the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Baguettes are cooking, but not ready yet. Croissants in the proofer, and I keep an eye on this one because they were first. And when my oven's going to be ready, I'm going to put them in. My trick of putting 2 pans already in it when it's warming up is because, like I said, I'm trying to save time with you today. So if I have already the bottom of my pan who's getting out faster than just if I put it in, that will give me some minutes extra to get my dough rising more. Now we're going to talk about at home. You make your dough. You can make, so let's start with the croissant. You make the croissant dough. You can leave it in a cooler for a couple of hours until it gets colder. Remember the trick? Make it flat before you put it in a cooler. Because if you make it in a bowl like they do in the book, but then your butter has been flattened, and if you want to incorporate it into your dough, pull it out like 15-20 minutes before, because it will be too strong. If your butter is too strong, it will crack. If your butter is too soft, it will melt. So it's in between. The trick that I give you, you can try to put your fingerprint in it. If you can just push a little, it's fine. If you have to push hard, it's too strong. If you have to, it's too melt, so put it back in the cooler. I show you the fold. You make the envelope one time, then you fold in 3. And on the other side, you flatten again. 3. Put it in a cooler. You can roll it the next afternoon. You can roll it when your kid's coming out of the hospital. You can do it the next morning. You can do it in try not to keep the dough more than 24 hours in the oven, because the dough keeps on rising. Even if it's cold, it keeps on rising. It will develop some strong fermentation, and your croissant's going to turn sour. Not sour, but the flavor won't be the same. You're looking for a sweet taste, not a sour taste. And when you flatten your butter, your croissant, I mean, make it as flat as possible, and you can make some wide croissant, or you can make some small croissant like we did today. I'd suggest when you do it at home for the first time, make small croissants. Because if you make big croissants, what's going to happen, this is the first time you do it. It will be strong, it will be thick, it won't be tasty at all. Those little ones are going to be easier to bite. The difference, I get you, the difference with me, at my shop, I have a rolling machine, it's called sheeter. So I can have my dough as thin as possible without any muscle, without any problem, and also it will be just even. You can't. So try not to copy what we're doing in the restaurant. Try to make it your way. Try to make a croissant that you like to eat. If it's too thick, then try with a smaller dough and make it thinner. If you have a big dough, portion it and just put the rest away. You can freeze the croissant dough, raw, I mean, not cooked. You can freeze it and use it another day. If you got, I finished that and I answer your question. If you finish it, if you freeze your croissant dough, you can put some dough conditioner or starter, something like that that will preserve it longer in the freezer. You had a question?
I have a Cuisinart that has a plastic spinner,
yeah.
which I've never used.
Yes.
Could you use that in place of a dough hook, or would that? I don't know what it's for. It's plastic rather than metal.
Is that a hook?
No, it's not a hook. No, it's just, you know, like it's just
a spinner. I think it's mostly made for making sauce or ice cream or something like that, because it's spinning around. And is it cutting or just spinning?
It's just spinning.
Yes, I'm afraid you'll break it, because as you can see, just with that small amount of dough, that hook had trouble to get into it.
So, where do you buy
that? Anywhere, or you can use those. You can make it by hand, like I did. It may work, huh? It will work eventually. It just takes longer. Like I said, most of the people now have a kitchenette at home. But what I just did at the beginning, I just made a simple mix. And what you do, you just make it in your bowl, make your mix until it gets all solid, and then you finish working on it on your table, like I did. You get the same results. It'll just take a little longer.
I have two questions. Can you use a bread machine to prep the dough? We have a dough setting. Have you ever done that? It's like an automatic bread baker.
No. No. If you like it, you like it. It's okay for me. I have no concern about it. No, what's going to happen is it's not, you don't have a hook. So the recipe I gave you is for handmade, is for professional use. If you do it with your bread maker machine, first of all, the recipes are different. They won't give you mine. They give you something more subtle. Less strength. It will be more like a pound cake, more than a. Once those are coming out, you see the difference. It's baguette. It's pretty strong. All right.
Wow.
I get back to you. Give me a second. Just need to.
Stuff like that is like that. Just turn on.
You just need to change the temperature. Okay, I have to turn it off. Oh no, it was on. I know next time.
Depending on something. I can't remember going to make it.
break out the teeth. Like butter on like you do with croissants. So I guess we do that after.
So 425 my croissants, a little bit lower. And the first one should be ready. The first one I put in the oven. I mean in the proofer. You can put egg wash on it. They'll turn nicer. I did not on those because it's just a small item, so it would take a lot of room for egg wash. But egg wash, and usually prefer egg yolk than egg white. Just separate the white and just keep the egg yolk for the egg wash. It looks nicer.
Do you put a little water with the egg white? I mean egg yolk? Just plain egg yolk?
You're doing the egg yolk or the egg white?
Egg yolk. I use the egg yolk. In professional use, we use both. We mix just crack eggs and mix them. But for you, it'll taste nicer if it's because the egg white has skins and the egg yolk's got the fats. The egg white doesn't. So the fats is going to turn nice when they cook. The egg white is going to bring some. It'll make it fluffy. It's better egg yolk, always. I always prefer egg yolk. It's nicer. You had a second question.
Chocolate? Do you just roll the chocolate chips in
Yeah.
the croissant?
They can answer. What did you do? My baker.
5 or 6
10
chocolate chips.
Chocolate is chocolate.
No, I didn't yet. About how long are you cooking the croissants?
In this oven, I would say 10 minutes, but keep an eye on it.
This is a convection?
Convection, then I turn it down to 425. Keep an eye on it, and look around 8-9 minutes, and you see how it turn out. If it's too dark or if it's too light. Once again, I like mine a little bit darker, but I know most of the people like them white.
So less than that in a regular oven?
Yes.
425, 400?
425 on this one with a fan on.
Right, but if it's not a convection?
A little bit higher then.
Oh, a little bit higher?
Yes, because the convection helps to develop the heat in the oven. Okay, do we have a knife so we can chop out the bread?
Can I ask you about baking stones? You obviously, or do you like a baking stone in your oven?
Yes. Yes, I like baking stone. Baking stone will help to have a nice crust on the bottom. When you're dealing with croissants, sometimes it has the problem is, since I said in the croissant you have butter, you have milk, so fats, it'll make it darker sometimes. So like in big bakeries I work with, sometimes they used to put the big rack of croissants into a rotary oven. So there's no stone. The heat's coming around, not from the bottom, and you had sometimes a nicer result. So I like stones for bread, less for croissants. You have a stone oven?
Well, I put one in.
Yeah. Okay. You have a. Was I supposed to remove it or?
No, you can remove
okay,
it.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So I broke it. Sorry. But I cannot put it back on.
No, just push
it.
I'm sorry. I'll get it.
I think it's supposed to stay. Because you. Ah, okay. So we're gonna. Oh, I have my knife. I can use it. Will be good.
So can I ask a bread question?
Yes.
When you're baking a loaf of bread and it comes up, it flips up on the side, what are you doing now?
What do you mean?
When you're baking a loaf of bread, like in a bread pan, and the side flips up,
It's like
when it's
cracks?
breaking, yeah, it cracks up on the side.
There must be several reasons. If your dough is pretty wet, make it crack. Because it's so hot, it creates like a heat inside the bread and make it crack.
Okay.
Maybe the seam was not on the bottom.
Right,
So
that's not the problem.
If you're on the opposite side, if the dough was too dry, it would have make it crack because the gluten got harder pushed. If it's too dry, it'll make it crack. That happens.
Okay. Okay.
Also, if you're on a
I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. Look at that. Look what happens. That dough was probably a little not proofed since we go faster. It wasn't proofed enough, so it did not have enough time to develop. And it happens that my stone that I use in the oven was hot, and the yeast didn't have enough time to rise nicely. So my bread was too thick inside, and it made it crack on the bottom.
Okay.
So that's one of the explanations I could have for this.
Right. So what happens with my bread is like sometimes, I don't know why, that's why I'm trying to figure it out. That crack would actually like lift up.
Okay, for that reason, see, if it was, imagine that would happen more. It would open up like that.
Right.
It means that my dough would be really too dry.
Too dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that I will give you that because myself, when I first started to be a pastry chef, I was always scared to make my dough too wet because it would stick and it would never rise. Right. And that was part of my problem when I first started. My baguettes were dry. Right. Like they were fine right after the oven, but at the end of the day they would get a little bit drier. So I learned how to push a little bit more the water here.
Okay. So no, don't make it too dry.
I got an eye on. I got an eye on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what I told you about baguette, you push, it will come right up. Which you cannot do with a bun, you can just press, it will stay flat.
Right.
That's the difference with baguette. Yep. How do we proceed for... do we
I'll volunteer to taste.
I'm sure you will. Do you have any pepper cups or?
There's napkins up there.
Yes.
Oh, and there's.
Yeah. If you have any pepper cup, we can just put them on a tray. And see, you can just use that. We put them on a tray. Yeah, I'm serious. This is baguette. You press, comes up. Because it's all natural. There's nothing but yeast, and the gluten strong. It will come up. I told you after a couple of times it would stick, of course. Plus it's hard, so. But look, still rising.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the best way to keep that little hole from getting in the middle of your baguette or other breads too?
What hole are you talking about?
Right in the middle.
Oh, the bubble? Oh, it's because of the fermentation. I've done nothing but doing the simple process of making a baguette. When the yeast is eating sugar, she's eating dough, etc. She'll breathe out, and she's spraying gas, and the gas makes those holes in the dough. So you can imagine there's thousands of yeast eating and biting and breathing out, burping maybe.
So it's not a bad thing.
No, it's good. We need that to. if the yeast wasn't inside of you, you would never get that flavor. It would be bland. It would be just dough flavor. Is that what you asked me? Over there.
You were just taking off the plant.
Yeah.
You didn't.
If you just put the baguettes on the pan, we could just, you don't need the cups.
We don't need the cups. We need cups. We just take it with your fingers.
And see what my stone did? The plate I put it in, it make something really crunchy on the bottom, which wouldn't happen if I didn't put it in.
Oh. So what do you want to do? Do you want me to hand them out?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to slide them on a tray then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pile them up. Yeah, we don't need that.
Put them in a bowl.
Or a bowl.
You have a little piece of butter with it. Okay, let's put it on the tray.
Okay.
Can you slide this from my side?
Saves the landfill.
My buddy isn't here today. He's on vacation to help me pass out stuff.
Okay, so here.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. That's easy. Just pass them in.
And you don't grease the pan at all.
You put just a little bit of flour on the baguettes, right? Yep.
You can or not.
Put the egg wash on, don't you?
We have somebody tough vendors that pick it up. That's very interesting. I would love
Some more?
Yep. Try to stand them down. Yeah. And I'll meet you on the other end.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of heavy. Watch. You're right. It's more of a thing. Oh my gosh, it smells like a movie. Oh yeah, I need chocolate chips. Got any chocolate chips back there?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, this one smells. Oh, I saw one too. Oh, you ate your whole. Oh my gosh. Always good to keep a few chocolate chips in your pocket. Mommy. What are your bakery hours? Chef, what are your bakery hours?
8 a.m. through 9 p.m. because we do breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And you're closed Sunday?
Monday.
Closed Monday.
Closed Monday.
Tell them about your special dinners that you do once a month.
Tasting dinners. It's every month we feature a region in France. We have a 6-course meal, and it's been pretty famous now because yeah, we feature like each month So throughout the year, 12 regions, and we usually have a special meal for Bastille Day.
Two-seating?
Tuesday evening, yeah.
Two-seating?
Tuesday evening.
Just once a month?
Just once a month, yes.
You go online?
Yes, you can check online on the website. There's all our menus, and you can also find out the next testing dinner for the next month.
Are you doing something for St. Patrick's Day?
I don't. It's Irish.
That's a holiday.
Hey, you use Irish butter.
Yeah, you use Irish butter. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I have to cut it in half.
This is not going.
Did that croissant come around as to commemorate a battle that Napoleon defeated a country that was Islam, maybe the crescent?
Excuse me, sir. Can you repeat?
Did that croissant come about to commemorate a battle that Napoleon won?
I don't know. You sure?
Croissant, yes.
I don't know. You tell me something.
Islam.
Okay. I don't know where it comes from.
He said it was Charlemagne, not Napoleon.
I think I heard that too. That's right.
They're beautiful.
They are.
Not just because of me. I had some very good baker.
Oh, that's cool.
They're still hot, huh? Okay, so we can pass around the croissants.
Yep.
You want to put them on?
Yeah, I'll just put them on. And then I'll come back.
Yeah, I got more.
Okay. All right.
I've made them. It's
Okay, so put some parchment paper under the ham and cheese, the stick alone.
Yeah.
It was fun. A whole lot of
So I have a question. Did you find this is hard or easy?
Easy.
It's easy, huh?
It's easy to watch.
Yes.
We should ask you. Did you find it? Yeah. Point the side down.
Freezing the butter and
Chef, if you open at 8 o'clock, what time does your crew get to work?
3 or 4. Depends. Thank you.
And where is the Is that chocolate?
Yeah.
I'll take a chocolate.
My hands are clean.
I don't care. It's chocolate.
Yes, you do take reservations.
Oh my goodness.
Usually pretty full. So how does it taste?
Very good. Very buttery.
Very good.
Very buttery.
It'll take a minute.
So you put your hot water in the oven for 5 minutes prior to baking. You take it out. Okay.
Put the water, 5 minutes later remove the saucepan, put your bread.
Okay. Right. And you're heating up your pans underneath to keep so that the baking pans are heated up faster, the dough.
Yep. To create a crust on the bottom.
Right, right. And pizza dough the same? Do you know? Yeah.
Similar, but pizza dough already baked on the stone.
Right. So you're making your stone hot?
Yes.
When you're cooking the pizza?
I don't make pizza.
Okay, if you were going to
Yes.
make pizza.
I thought you were asking me if I was
No.
Yeah, usually if you would make your own pizza at home,
Yeah.
you can do the same process. Put something on the bottom. A stone is great, huh?
Yeah. No, I have a pizza stone. I use
You
it.
put it on, and then the trick is, if once you have your plate, you put some flour under your pizza dough, and you slide it on. Be careful, huh?
Slide it onto the stone.
Yeah, I would do that. I would slide my pizza onto the stone, and it will cook on top of the stone.
Right, right.
And then if you need a wide spatula to remove it after. If you try to do it by hand, it will be, unless you remove the stone and put it on top of your stove,
Right.
and try to remove it on the track.
Right.
Really, I mean, you didn't let the stuff rise or
Lots of tricks.
Yeah, yeah. It's the tricks that help.
Yeah. Yes, that is an advantage.
Oh, I did not, I talked about the croissant, but not about the bread. So when you make your bread, you make your dough, like I show you. You can let it rise for 30 minutes. Today we did 15 only. So 30 minutes is going to give more time for the dough to rise, to get softer, get warmer. And after you fold it, you put it in what I call a puffer, or like your oven off, with a little bit of steam water on the bottom. You would leave it for 30 minutes, 35, 40. It all depends on how you make your dough. It all depends on that mostly. And then remove it from the stone, turn on your oven at the right temperature. So we talk about 450 if you have a convection oven, 470 if you don't have any convection. Then once your oven is at the right temperature, I'd suggest you put a little saucepan of hot water for 4 or 5 minutes, remove it, take off the wrap that you put on to cover your dough, put your dough in and let it cook for 15, 20 minutes, it depends on how you want the color.
So it's not important to let the croissants rise?
Croissants or bread? I'm talking about bread and you talk about croissants.
Yeah, I changed the subject.
So you did bread? So you're asking for croissants? Sorry, can you ask again?
Should you let them rise before you bake them?
Yes.
Yeah?
How long should you let the croissants rise?
See, I put in the oven too, that was rising a little. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it all depends on how thick is your dough. If it's too thick, it'll take longer. If it's thinner, it'll take 35 minutes.
Is it supposed to rise till about double in size?
Yeah, double size. If it rises too much, after that it will be, it will fall down. But twice the size is fine. See how they were when we put them in the oven, and when they looked at, they rose a little.
notes that they would be willing to let me copy. We need a recipe that we can put in the video, and I don't have a complete recipe, so I don't know if anybody takes really good notes or writes neatly. Let me know, and we can borrow yours. Appreciate it.
Mine says smash thing on the corner of the table. Yes, make sure you got the right words. Make sure you put the bottom. Make sure you have the order on the bottom. That's what I tried to make.
Don't just say
It's just sort of like, yeah, it's in my brain. That's where it's going to have to stay. It's pretty much like baking. It is. The ingredients in your mind needs to vary, but come on, somebody's still what's that?
You're baking the croissants for how long?
I guess I got, it doesn't
10 to 12 minutes at the most, 8 to 9. It depends on how we oven it.
I know they need it. I don't like to go home and go back out again.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I use Swiss cheese and Black Forest ham. But you can use whatever you want. Whatever cheese, whatever ham. You can use turkey, you can use beef, whatever you want.
Good job.
Thank you.
Monsieur Amouret, française aussi. Je suis ici depuis 1950 dans le d'accent. Denise. Et pour moi, c'est plus facile, je crois, d'aller à votre pâtisserie acheter un croissant et une baguette. C'est un peu de travail, Michel, mais je me suis arrêtée là une fois, je crois que c'était avant vous. J'ai acheté un Napoléon et je ne l'ai pas trouvé très bon parce qu'il était plein de crème très épaisse au lieu de... C'était un pudding, il n'y avait pas de... Vous savez, habituellement, un Napoléon, c'est je veux dire, en épaisseur. Et là, c'était solide. Oui. J'ai pas aimé ça autant.
Moi j'en fais qu'un maintenant.
C'était avant vous, je crois.
D'accord, moi je ne fais qu'un, c'est le Bavarian Napoléon. Et en fait je mets une mousse qu'on appelle Bavarian.
Mais c'était pas ça, c'était complètement solide, pudding épais.
D'accord.